Welcome back to the Daily Taoist with Will S. We are talking about the Tao Te Ching and how to get back into spirit and alignment with the way. This is an ongoing series. I am now moving into Dr. Wayne Dyer's book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. I am starting with the preface. This will be episode 0. I love each and every one of you on this planet. These teachings will be forever in the ether. For my father, James Eugene Summer, even though I've never known you, after thoroughly digesting the Tao, I finally get it. It is and always was all perfect. I love you. I love you, Dad. Saturday, August 13th at 1:49 a.m. Forever and ever, goodbye for the last and final time. To me, Dad, you are already gone. Will S. Preface. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. George Bernard Shaw. Change your thoughts, change your life is the end product of my year-long journey of research, contemplation, and application of the Tao Te Ching, a book of wisdom that's been translated more than any volume in the world, with the exception of the Bible. Many scholars consider this Chinese classic the ultimate discourse on the nature of existence, and it continues to be a valuable resource for achieving a way of life that guarantees integrity, joy, peace, and balance. I recently read about someone who overcame the life threatening, addictive behaviors by reading and rereading the 81 verses of this ancient text. Just imagine, in fewer than 100 short passages, it describes a way of living that's balanced, moral, and spiritual, and that works for all facets of life on earth, also known as the Mandelbrot. Legend tells us that the Tao Te Ching was authored by Lao-Tzu, a prophet who was also the keeper of the imperial archives in the ancient capital of Liaoyang. Seeing the continual decay during a period of warring states, Lao-Tzu decided to ride westward and into the desert. At the Hankou Pass, a gatekeeper named Ying Xi, knowing of Lao-Tzu's reputation for being a man of wisdom, begged him to record the essence of his teaching. Thus, the Tao Te Ching was born out of 5,000 Chinese characters. In all my reading on the origins of the Tao Te Ching, I never found a definitive historical record of its writing. Yet today it survives in thousands of versions in virtually every language. In fact, after reading this classic text one morning and then taking in a different interpretation that afternoon, I was hooked. I ordered more translations, 5 of which were quite old, 5 of which were more modern. You'll find the titles in the acknowledgments. Since neither Lao Tzu nor the origins of his verses are historically certain, I was fascinated by the different ways of the 5,000 characters were interpreted by scholars in the editions that I studied, especially when you consider that many of these ancient Chinese symbols are no longer in use and invite differing translations themselves. I then felt called upon to write an essay for each verse that showed its valuable wisdom applied to the 21st century. From those 10 translations that I've gone over, I pieced together the 81 verses in Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life based on how they resonated with me. This book is my personal interpretation of the Tao Te Ching, each verse of which gave me an insight into life and nature. As you read on, know that these pages were pasted together from what I personally felt were the most useful aspects of those 10 different translations I studied. And I apologize for any exclusions or if the inclusions don't seem to be a perfect fit. One of the many gifts of the Tao Te Ching is its mind stretching quality, especially in the way that Lao-Tzu uses irony and paradox to get you to look at life. If you think that being forceful is the appropriate response, Lao-Tzu urges you to see the value in being humble. If action seems called for, he asks you to reconsider non action. If you feel that grasping will help you acquire what you want or need, he counsels you to let go and be patient. And what is this thing called the Tao? As we're told in the first verse, to name it is to lose it. So there's best that I can come up with. The Tao is the supreme reality, an all pervasive source of everything. The Tao never begins or ends, does nothing, and yet animates everything in the world of form and boundaries, which is called the world of 10,000 things, the named and the unnamed. Commentaries on the Tao Te Ching generally interpret Tao as the way, Te as the shape and power that is, how the Tao manifests, and Ching as book. Every translation I read referred to the Tao as the way with a capital W and Te as adding light or color to the way. As well, I look at the name that I've carried for over 65 years, Wayne Dyer, and I realize that many have attracted to me by studying and writing these essays. As you see, the first three letters of my name make up the word way, while a dyer is one who adds light or color. It's no wonder why I've been so totally involved in reading, writing, interpreting, and most significantly putting into practice these 81 verses. In The Wisdom of China and India, Dr. Lin Yutang states, if there is one book in the whole of Oriental literature which should be read above all others, it is my opinion Lao Tzu's Book of Tao. It is one of the profound books in the world's philosophy. If you read Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, you're going to find your way through Lao Tzu's mystical and practical philosophy, along with the joy of applying it to your life in today's modern world. Writing this book was a complete surrender to ideas that didn't always seem to fit a linear, rational approach, and it has changed me in a way that is like the Tao itself, unexplainable and unchangeable. Once I knew that I'd be spending a year on this project, its creation came about in the following way, in which I have journaled for you. And that was in 2006, guys, that he did this. I wake before 4 a.m., meditate, consume juices and supplements, and enter my sacred writing space. On a table, I have some framed drawings of Lao Tzu. In one, he's clad in simple robes. In another, he's standing with a staff. And in a third, he's astride an ox. I ease my into my work and read one verse of the Tao Te Ching, letting the words stay with me and inviting the forces of both the outer and inner life to inform me. Some of the passages contain ideas that are seen to be directed to political leaders. Yet in all cases, I keep the average reader in mind. In other words, I seek the wisdom for everyone, not just for those in positions of government or business. I jot down a few notes, and for the next 3 days, I think about what Lao Tzu is offering. I invite the Tao to be with me throughout the day in all my activities. As a background to the title of this book, Change Your Thoughts Will, I tell myself, and I watch how your life changes. My thoughts do change. I feel the Tao with me, always there, always doing nothing, and always leaving absolutely nothing undone. As I'm now seeing with a capital S, the landscape looks much different. The people I see are godly creations who are ignoring their own nature, or even more poignantly, needingly interfering in the affairs of others. I have a different perspective now. I feel more peaceful and patient. I keep being reminded of the cyclical nature of the world, of the 10,000 things, and have powerful insights that change what I see. I know that we humans are like the rest of the natural world, and that sadness, fear, frustration, or any other troubled feelings cannot last. Nature doesn't create a storm that never ends. Within misfortune, good fortune hides. Following my days of thinking and applying the wisdom of a particular verse, I look into the eyes of Lao Tzu, picture in the early morning, and I wondered, what did you mean? How does this apply here today to anyone who might want to live according to these majestic teachings? What happens next is mind blowing. And what simply comes through the ages, through the atmosphere, through my purple pen, and onto the page flows what I can only call automatic writing. I don't even own it. I know I can't touch it, see it, feel it, or even name it, but the words arrive in the world of 10,000 things. I am grateful, bewildered, astonished, and overjoyed. The next day, I began another 4 day adventure with this wisdom of a Chinese master recorded 2,500 years ago. Feeling so blessed, honored, and completely awestruck by the profound impact these words have on me. It's my vision for this 21st century our world must recruit future leaders who are steeped in the importance of Lao Tzu's words. Our survival may depend on understanding that the concepts of enemy and war can cease to exist through living Tao centered lives. Government will need to retreat from regulating our personal lives, overly taxing our income, and invading our privacy. Verse 17. Yet the lessons and truths of the Tao must be discovered and applied by individuals. In this way, it can bring you to the enormous wonder of your own being. Yes, you are the Tao at work. Your being, where your being came from and will return to non being. For maximum enjoyment and benefit, make reading this book a personal journey. First, peruse one of the passages of the Tao Te Ching and the essay that follows it. Next, spend some time applying it, changing the way you've been conditioned to think, and letting yourself open up to a new way of conceptualizing these ideas. Finally, individualize the verse by writing, recording, drawing, or expressing yourself in either way you're called to. And move on to the next verse with a rhythm that suits your nature. The following is from 365 Tao, Daily Meditations by Deng Ming Dao, which I love to turn to each day. Read this expert and you'll see the Tao coming alive to you. If you spend a long period of time in study and self cultivation, you will enter Tao. By doing so, you will enter a world of extraordinary perception. You experience unimaginable things, receive thoughts and learning as if it's coming from nowhere, perceive things that could be classified as prescient. Yet you try to communicate what you experience. There is no one to understand you, no one who will believe you. The more you walk this road, the farther you are from the ordinary ways of society. You may see the truth, but you will find that people would rather listen to politicians, performers, and charlatans. If you are a known follower of the Tao, people may seek you out, but they seldom are the ones who truly understand Tao. They are the people who would exploit Tao as a crutch. To speak to them of the wonders you have seen is often to engage in a futile bout of miscommunication. That is why it is said those who know do not speak. Why simply not stay quiet? Enjoy Tao as you will. Let others think you are dumb. Inside yourself, you will know the joy of Tao's mysteries. If you meet someone who can profit by your experience, you should share. But if you are merely a wanderer in the crowd of strangers, it is wisdom to be silent. Perhaps the overriding message of the Tao Te Ching is to learn how to luxuriate in the simplicity of what you are being told throughout this ancient sacred text. As you put its ideas into practice, you'll discover how profound it is. But then you'll find yourself startled by its simplicity and naturalness. The advice of this ancient master is to so easily to apply that you mustn't try to complicate it. Simply allow yourself to stay in harmony with your nature, which can be trusted if you can just listen and act accordingly. I hope you'll feel joyously in love with Lao-Tzu and his wondrous Tao Te Ching, and you'll add your light and color to the great way. I offer you my love along with a commitment to a Tao centered world. I can think of no greater vision for you, for our planet, or our universe. Wayne W. Dyer, Maui, Hawaii, 2006. John Star. Of birds I know they have wings to fly with. Of fish they have fins to swim with. Of wild beasts they have feet to run with. For feet they are traps, for fins nets, for wings arrows. But who knows how dragons surmount the wind and a cloud into heaven? This day I have seen Lao Tzu, and he is a dragon. From the Life of the Way according to Lao Tzu, translated by Witter Biner. Um, Thanks for listening, guys. Um, Again, this is episode zero of a new series I'm doing on Dr. Wayne Dyer's interpretation of the Tao. It's the first interpretation that I was introduced to over 5 years ago. Um, I'm not going to unnecessarily complicate things. Um, I'm adding my own color in the way, my own color to the way. Um, I really do want to continue on the mantle that Wayne started. I know I have big shoes to fill, but I know I feel it in my bones that Wayne is gone on to a better place in 2015, 75 years old. And he's down or up there or wherever he is. He's smiling on us right now. Those of us who know but do not speak, right? Those of us who just wake up every day before 4 a.m. and meditate and pray My prayer this morning and my prayer in general is for the world to be at peace. And for those of us who are lost, the doomer bloomers, or as Jesus said, the meek shall inherit the earth. So if you find your way to this podcast or any of my other outlets, the doomer bloomers, the Yukon Gold, Hard Times, the Broken Link, just know there are people out there like you, and you don't have to go through life thinking you're alone. I did that for a really long time. And I don't feel alone anymore. I feel like I was put on this plane of existence for a reason. It's taken me close to 33 years to figure out my purpose, and that is to fix what is broken and to serve a higher purpose than myself and to give back without expecting anything in return. I love each and every one of you. Namaste from Will S.